Okay, I think I'm live now. Second attempt at this. I messed up and got distracted by a few things last time. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about the concept of time in terms of as a three-dimensional property. So we're going to take the z value or the height of a blast hole. We're going to remove it, and we're going to replace that with time as a property. And what I've got here is the concept itself, like timing concepts, the timing concept around this. Sorry, messing it up completely, but I'll try to get on track. So we've got our timing triangle, and it's sort of like supplemental to that paper or that editorial that I wrote before. And we have our triangle. We have 25 milliseconds across here, 67 milliseconds going up, and we've got a lot of different times in here. So how would we pick infill holes, or how would we understand things in there? And there I have not even shown you it, so let me show you that now. And so I'm using a program called Blender. It's a three-dimensional sculpting and modeling program. You might know about it. Quite popular. It's free for anyone. However, anyway, I'm using it to show time as a three-dimensional space. And so what I have here is let's say there's a blast hole down here and a blast hole down here at 25, and there's a blast hole up here at 67. And these are their overall time. So I've got a 25 coming across and a 42 going up. And what I'm going to show now is in my model, I've used meters. So 25 is 2.5 meters in my model on the Z depth. So I'm going to select my contour of time, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. And this is just a flat plane. And this triangle is actually in three-dimensional space, so it's tilted up. So this is 6.7 meters, this is 2.5 meters, this is 0 meters. Pretty easy. Let's have a look at what that looks like. If we drag it up, or you can see it's starting to eat off this corner of the triangle with time. So let's say we've got a 9 millisecond lead. We want to find out where we're sitting on the triangle. If we need to tie a 9 into an infill hole, what would be valid at keeping that contour uniformed? So 0.9, because we're in meters here, so 9 milliseconds is 0.9 in this model. And so here we can see this corner is taken down there off the edge of the timing triangle. So what we're looking at is essentially the contours. And I gave away my secret there. Let's look at it a bit better. So this is looking like 2 dimensions, and we're just going to see this time travel through there. And so now let's crank it up, and we'll say, let's say we've got a 17 millisecond lead, and we want to see where our blast holes would be best tied in with a 17 millisecond from the 0 hole. And so we can type in here 1.7, and we can see this contour, and it goes through the whole triangle like this. So if we hit 2.5, so we've got 25, we can see that it connects to this corner triangle down the corner down here in the base triangle. So if I just highlight the base triangle there, you can see where the points are. So we hit this corner and we're off. Now that means that I could use a 25 millisecond lead from 0 onto anywhere along here, and that would be valid as an infill. However, we know we've got a 25 there, so that means that we're going to have 2 holes fire pretty close together at the same time. So not really, maybe not an option for a lot of people out there. So let's think about, well, what is 2.5 plus 9? You know, that's what, 33, 34, yeah, 33, 34, sorry. So if we were to go 3.4 meters, then we would run a 9 millisecond lead to anywhere along here. I've got another version of this. Let me just bring that up. 2 seconds. And here we have this concept in the same way as what I've shown you in the Blender, and this is just I just did it in Excel with a bit of a chart, and we're seeing that it's split up. So these are the times along the side of where they would line up, and this is on this side, and you can see the contour lines are just joining through there. So if you wanted a 9 millisecond lead, well, that could go anywhere along this orange line. And if you were looking for a 9 off here, off the 25, well, you can connect it anywhere along here to any infill along this contour line to determine where your most appropriate connection would be to keep the contours very straight. So all I'm trying to do here is show the concept of time as a three-dimensional space. This is in two-dimensional form, so we can go back to our Blender file, and I'm going to spin it in 3 dimensions so you can essentially see what that looks like. And so here we have what we're looking at. We're looking at this time here, 67 milliseconds up here, and 25 milliseconds for 0, and we can see this triangle. Now, I've used the triangle. I think the triangle is the best shape. The triangle is a good shape because it's the simplest shape. And then your parallelogram is actually 2 triangles, or your rhomboid, is it? Anyway, and squares are 2 triangles as well. So you have triangulations or triangles as the smallest or the most simplest three-dimensional shape, and so that's why I've used a triangle in this case. And you can see that we can take this and we can slide this up, and we can see this is what time is doing as we go through. So we fire at 0 and we're seeing that we're eating this time away, and that's essentially a concept for thinking about where if time is in that three-dimensional space, where does an infill hole fit? And which lead can I use to connect that with? So if I then show you the extra time here, which I've got, and I'll turn that on, we can see that we're got more triangles there, and they go up to the next set. But you can see that they are actually rising up in the three-dimensional space. So we have 50 here and 92 up there, and so we can see that when we drag this plane up, we can see that at this point we are using a 17 to time infill holes at this point, and that is at 42 milliseconds, which is what you would expect to see, 42 milliseconds, because 25 and 17, 42. Pretty easy when you think about it in a three-dimensional space. And so what would we use if we wanted to get from a 50 millisecond lead? Well, this is 50 all the way across here, so we could run a 25 from this hole here back into anywhere along this line. Yeah, so we can use a 25 back through here, but we're also using a 25 over here, so that's, like we said, double holes initiating. What have we got there? Let's say we're at 54 milliseconds. Oops, there you go, there's my model busted. One there, 5.4. So if we wanted to find a way to get a timing correct across here, we would have to find a way to get to 5.4 or 54 milliseconds, and what we would do to do that is use lead. But as you know, with non-L, we are restricted by the number of leads that we have at our disposal, and as I was saying just before, we've got a 9 here, a 17, a 25, and a 42. That's all we can use, because 42 is our biggest delay here. I mean, you could do a reverse echelon with 67 through there. Don't know how functional that is. And then from second hole, these are our times available to us from second hole. So we've got first hole, we can add in a 9, or we can add a 17 or a 25 or a 42. And if we want to second hold, our available times are 34, 42 and 50, and we have to find where they fit in this triangle. So I just wanted to present very quickly what time looks like in regards to blasting, and this is a three-dimensional vision of what time is. So as we go up, now if you've ever used or tried to use Vulkan to do timing, you'll notice that this is exactly how it draws the time contours. Pretty much builds a triangulation in three-dimensional space. So it's a pretty quick stream. I messed it up on the first run. I was a bit better at talking about it on the first attempt, and then I messed it all up. So now I have tried again, and it's not quite as concise or as thought out as what I wanted to present, but this is essentially what time is in blasting, is considering what this burns through here. Now let's say, for example, let's actually do a little experiment. We're going to take this corner here, 92, and instead of using a 25 and a 42 up there, we might use a 25 and a 67, right? So if we just go 25 plus 67, we've got 90. Well, there you go, 25 plus 67 is 92. So I've messed this value up. Oh no, I haven't. No, that's right. So if we were to go with a 50, sorry, that's why I'm not thinking right, 50. So we got 117. So let's say we want this at 117. So we're actually changing the construct, and we're using a 67 from this hole up to here to make that 117. So I'm going to change that to 117. So that would be, I'm going to select in here. Let's see if I can do this quickly. So we've got this here, and we're going to say this is well, this vertex should be a global vertex. So Z is as you can see, so this would be what timing would look like. See, there you go. I'm stupidly writing it. There you go. We wanted 117, so it'll be 11.7. Right, so this is what time would look like in this case if that was there. Let's click on this one, this next extra time box as well. So this one here, let's get that. Edit mode. Still getting a handle on this program. There you go. And edit mode, there you go. And we want this one on a global at 11.7. So now we are looking at what time looks like if it was tied in with a 67 up here. We can get that text there. Just object on that text. My goodness. It's very slow, as you can see. It's a lot easier to do timing with an actual application. So you can see here now that we're changing that to 117. So if I go back to object mode and we spin it around, now we can see what that looks like. We'll lift this text value up as well. Terribly low. So let's put that text value at 117. Cool. So here we have what time looks like if we use a 67. Now what you can see here in your contour is a kink or an out of sequence time, and this is what happens when you lift a hole up in three-dimensional space. So if you lift the time up in three-dimensional space, we see a kink. So this actually pushes this kink forward, and this is what we're looking for. So we've got a timing line that goes across here, or a contour that goes across here, then it bends down in here, and then it bends back. So let me just turn off all the arrows, and we can see what we're looking at in terms of how contours of time work. And we can see that we've got this drag down here, then across, and then across again, and a bit of a bend. Now what would happen if you were to speed up time, or sorry, to put a shorter delay in here, you would see that these two, this kink here would go out this way, and we can show that as well if you'd like. But you know, essentially we're just seeing that this is what happens with timing. We've got this bend in our time, our contour, our flat plane, which is pushing through, and we can see how this works with time. So this is why you get kinks, because things aren't consistent. Things are either pushing the time forward, or the contour line forward, which is slowing down the blast, or pulling it back, which is speeding up the blast. So if we let's just do it for the sense of experience. And so we will hit the edit mode, and we're going to take this, and we're going to say this is now, let's say we go 25 25, so we go 50, so this should be 75. So I'm going to take this down to 7.5 because it's 75. This is just my model at the moment, and bend that back, and you can see here I've got a very disconnected shape because that triangle's there. And I'm going to select this next time box here, take this back, and we'll go, what did I say, 7.5, which is 75 in my model, just to say. And you can see that we have pushed that back. So that time now that we had lifted up before, that time is now is now 75 milliseconds, right? So this is what happens with time. So this is 75, sorry. So let's just go to object, and then I try and get this right. New to this program, so 75 milliseconds. So now you can see what happens to time three-dimensionally when you're looking at timing shapes. So it's a bit difficult. The plane doesn't look too bad, you know, it looks quite flat, but when you look at it, you can see this bend through there, and that's essentially what you're seeing with this time. It's not noticeable. This should be down here, 7.5. So you can see what happens. And so I thought this was a really good way to show the concept of time as a flat plane that goes through blasts. So when you're thinking about time, you've got consistency, and then you know that you're inconsistent because something's happening to the contour. And that's how you read time on blasts, is you see these kinks, and straight away you know, when you see a kink, you know there's a timing issue or a timing change. Essentially a timing change would be a better word, because maybe you intended for this to speed up. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you intended it for slow down, but you did it wrong. So it's important to be able to read these contours. And if you were, you know, obviously it would look, there would be lots of these bending around. So I guess, I mean, this is going to be pretty quick because it's a very quick concept, but I just wanted to show you what happens when we're looking at this information. So if I try one more thing, and I'm going to try one more thing. We're going to try and select both of those because, again, like I said, new to this program, edit. I'm going to select those two corner holes. Yeah, I think that's both of them. Yeah. See if I can get both of them. Obviously, pretty sad. Right. Very boring watching someone play with a computer, isn't it? But it'll be worth it if I get it right. Let's just see if we can select all those. Right, not having much luck with that, am I? Okay. Radio, let's just select the one in edit mode, and so what we'll do is we will shuffle this and we'll show you what happens. We'll just shuffle this up or down so you can see what happens when your time bends out. So if we're going backwards in time, like now this is only 45 milliseconds, this is the sort of contour you get. So you know when something's out of sequence. You'll see these massive kinks in it. So let's just put that at, let's say it's completely out of sequence, it's 67, let's say it's actually only 50, right? 50, which is a 5 on my number. You can see this very straight line here. You can see a kink, and we'll get this other hole on that one, and we're going to do the same here, and we'll say that one is 5.0. Let's see what happens there. Radio. Now, if you were to see something like this, it's out of sequence, right? So this is now, this time is completely out of sequence. Object mode and edit mode. Let's see if we can get that. Very, very, very bad at this program, so apologies for the terrible timing. So this is like, what did we say it was? It was 50. So this is 50. This is the same speed, same millisecond time as what's down there. So someone's connected the wrong lead, or they've tied it in wrong, or if this was electronic, you would also see this as an electronic issue. You'd see these kinks. Now you know that people do this. I've seen shots that do this. So this is important to be aware that your time here is a problem. Right? And you might not even notice it. You might think there's nothing that wrong with it, because when you look at your time down here, you go to edit mode again, and we get this we get this time down here, and we say, let's say we actually put this at 75 milliseconds. What's going to happen there? So let's lift this up to 7.5. Now the shot is really broken at this point. So you can see this massive kink in here where the time. Now what does that look like in 3 dimensions? That's the key here. You're looking like this. This is what your time looks like in 3 dimensions when you mess it up. You've got a hole that fires early, and you've got a hole that fires in front after. So it's important to understand what time is looking like in 3 dimensions, and that's what draws that contour line. Now this is simple. This is a triangle, and there is some slight changes, some bends and curves that you might see, but yeah, on the whole, this is how you know when time is messed up, is you can see that this bend occurs. So it's the same sort of thing here. Like if I put this at the same time as a 25, or as the previous delay, so we've essentially got a 0, we can see what that looks like as well. It's going to be flat, isn't it? It's going to be flat across this. So if we see that, we know that the time, if we see that a contour line is forming up and joining across here between these 2 holes, you know that they're firing the same time. Ignore that text. We'll turn those off, but you can read contours. So if we turn off all the text, actually, if you can read contours, you can see that this hole is after this hole, and this hole is also after this hole. But this hole is before this hole, and it's after this one, But if it was the same time as this would be a straight line up through there onto that point, and that would be consumed. So it's important to read, if you read the triangle, yeah, read the contour, and you can see that in timing programs. Down here we can do exactly that with a timing program. I don't know what time I've got. Well, it's now 25 minutes, so I'll just spend a few minutes on this. Just close that down. This was something I was playing with, just trying to do a bit of design stuff. But let's open a Test Blast one that we did. What's this one? Test Blast 3. All right, this is pretty cool. We can now show that with one of these timing scenarios that we worked on previously. I really like this timing scenario thing. This is gold. I'll just put that over there. All right. Okay, so you can see in here that we've got a few different ones. Let's just get an echelon, right? We'll just get the echelon up. Okay, we've got these echelons, and let's say we want to have something fire out of sequence here with the example that we previously made, right? I am pretty much reset them there. Okay, so we've got like a whole. So let's resequence one of these, and we'll time at the same time as, I don't know, a 0. Let's put in a 0. Let's see if we can put in a 0. We will manage a delay here and change this to delay time of 0. We'll call it a 0. Yeah, we'll give it a, I know. What's a 0 color? I guess bright pinks are kind of 0 color. So we've got a 0 there. Yeah. Okay. We're going to put a 0 in here. We're going to have, or a 0 across here. We'll find out. So let's do a 0. Line selection. Let's see if we do this right. Right, and we're going to put in a 0 here, and we're going to tie select it with a 0. Okay, sounds good. Rightio. Now, what are we expecting to see in the contour? Timing contours, pretty bad kink. You can see this. So this is what happens. We'll ignore this. This is what happens when, this is how you read your contours. Obviously, this kink back here, and that's pretty significant, and that's exactly what we saw in our three-dimensional model of time. So if we go back to here, that's what we're seeing here. This kink through there, and then obviously because we messed this one up, that's what it looks like. So I thought that we would show time in a three-dimensional space so that you can recognize what kinks and contours and those sorts of things mean when you're looking at time in three-dimensional space. This makes sense. If you're looking at it in terms of, let's say that, what did we say, that was 9.2. If you're looking at it flat, sometimes you don't see these problems. You know, you can see here that that's that 0 time there that we had, and we want to, let's put that up at 5.0 because that's what we had before. So you can see this exact scenario playing out when you look at this stuff. 9.2. Oh, obviously not 92 for my model here that we're looking at, 9.2. And you can see right here that we've got this consistent shape. And as I said before, when we lose consistency on this, when we lose the timing consistency, you'll see the contour bend. So yeah, I thought this was a good example. How do you feel about it? Are you sick of timing videos? I really would like to know. Please leave a comment on the video if you're sick of... Here I am, I'm talking to the camera. I didn't even show the shape. So let me just go back. This is how new I am to it all. So you can see what I was trying to get at there is if I am fiddling with this, you can see this contour bend, you know, and that'll tell you the time that it is that you're looking at. So if we're looking top down, I feel a bit of an idiot there. So this is bending it or making it, you know, we're increasing the delay up here. So this is now, you know, 194 milliseconds, or let's say we're lower and we're still above 62, but you know, it's not that great, is it? So 62, so really we want 67 is going to be flat, isn't it? So pretty much 6.7, it's going to be flat across there. You can see flat across there. And this is, I just want you to get the grasp that time is a three-dimensional space when we're talking about blast times and hold times across it. So you can replace a Z value with your time and you can get this, and it will tell you where the shot's going wrong. Like if you have this, you're looking at, like, this is pretty bad. This is like, this is what's that? That's hole is firing the same time as this hole here, and this is the kink that you get. This is the example. Now the longer the times, the more blended these are, because so the longer the delays, the more together it is, blended it is. Yeah, I guess so. Like, so if you're using like I don't know, 67s and 109s, then the kinks can be indicative of something happening at the same time, but there might be a slight, it might not be exact, but anyway, it's important to note. Now I will go back and I will hit you up with this question. Is this the sort of video you want to see? Are you still interested in timing? Do you want to see more timing, or would you like to talk about designs? Would you like to talk about charging? Would you like to talk about vibration, overpressure, electronics? I guess I started with time because it's a fairly interesting topic and a lot of people don't really get it until much later, until they form some kind of opinion in their brain. Especially now with electronic blasting, people are very out of the loop with time because they don't see the connections. They're not seeing the relationships within the blast hole to hole. So I would love to hear your feedback. Please leave a comment on the video, like, subscribe, and if this is not what you're interested in and the videos are no good, then I would like to know that so I can lift my game. This one, obviously, I was off my game tonight, but I hope that you all enjoy these live streams, and I spend a bit of time building these sorts of models and generating these Excel sheets. So if you like them, that's wonderful, tell me that. If you don't like them and you want to talk about something different, also cool. And if you want to actually give me some feedback while the stream's going, feel free. There's no judgment here. I think learning is the most important journey that we're on. So hopefully you like these videos and see value in them. So please, if you like them, subscribe, like, and thank you for all the support from the people out there. Hopefully you were able to sit through the dud bit. Rambling on. I'm going to go. It's 34 minutes. It's a quick stream. Yeah, also what time frame? Let me know if an hour is too long or 30 minutes is too long. If you just want 15-minute captures of a simple concept, I'd love to hear what your feedback is on it. Okay, thank you very much, and appreciate all the help and support from a variety of people out there. Thank you.